Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Adobe Express Power Hour. This is the second of two that myself and Andy have run, and it's really a session to talk about new features, new updates within Adobe Express for all of you, our fantastic business and enterprise community. So this session is for you. So please don't feel that you can't ask questions. Please pop your questions in the chat. Please just feel free to interrupt and ask questions as well. We'll keep it quite brief as we're going to move through. So let's just start with a few. Well, we'll start with the agenda and then we'll move into the introductions. So the agenda today is we're going to be talking through a little bit of what is Express, how is it useful for you? You probably know already, but then we're really going to be moving straight into the ease of use improvements and then also new creative tools that have been introduced to Adobe Express recently as well. So who are we? My name is Celeste Menich. I'm a Senior Strategic Product Manager, Product Manager here at Adobe. Oh, I've got it wrong there. I'm a Senior Strategic Development Manager here at Adobe, and I'm joined here by Andy Lambert, who's a Senior Product Manager. We work very closely together. We work hand in hand to bring all of our enterprise community the features and the new updates from Adobe Express so you can get the most out of your tools that you're using every day. We've got our LinkedIn profiles here. The reason we've got them both up here is that actually this session will be hosted on Andy's LinkedIn channel as well. So if you did miss anything or want to review it, pop over to Andy's LinkedIn and then we'll be able to share all the recording of today's session as well. Amazing. So Andy, did you want to do a quick intro before we launch in?
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm sure I know a few people here, but you've already sold my title. Let's get into the good stuff.
Okay, fantastic. So we're going to do a little bit of a review and then a little bit of a roadmap, kind of hints of tips and tricks and what's to come as well. So if you're new to Express, Adobe Express is a fantastic one-stop web-based platform for anyone in your industry to use, right? So I've been working with a number of creative teams and brand teams, but I've also been working with teams in HR, sales, and so forth. So I'm really working with the kind of marketing teams. And the reason that we're working with all these teams is that Adobe Express is not just for creative teams. It's a fantastic tool for creative pros to use, particularly for some of the quick actions, making your life simple without jumping into the pro tools. But it's also an amazing content authoring platform for everyone across the business. It integrates with Creative Cloud. So we have a full ecosystem of integration between Adobe Express and Creative Cloud. So you can bring all that fantastic content you have created in Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, and so forth into Adobe Express, which is amazing. We also have a fantastic integration with Document Cloud as well. So if you're working with PDFs and you just want to bring your PDF into Adobe Express to jazz it up, this is an amazing workflow. And we'll be talking a little bit more about improvements to that workflow as well. Finally, if you're using any of our Experience Cloud platforms, we also have direct integration to things like Adobe Experience Manager. So you're actually able to access your content right from Adobe Experience Manager and bring that into Express. And likewise, if you want to store your final deliverable templates or content, for example, and bring that back into AEM, that's all possible too today. So you're not just working with a tool that sort of sits independently. You're working with our whole Creative Cloud, Document Cloud, and Experience Cloud ecosystem. So Adobe Express is actually a platform for content creation at scale. Now, I've been working with a number of businesses who have been working to set up their brand kits, their libraries of templates, and then really scale out their sort of content creation, but really making sure that everything is on brand. You've seen this before, and we will be talking a little bit more about it today, but that's really one of the powerful things about Adobe Express is the fact that everyone can create on-brand content. It's now available on web and mobile, and we'll be introducing the fact it's actually available from very recently on iPad too, which is going to be great for a lot of people who do work on iPad. We've also got the Express Embed SDK, so you can actually embed it into your own platforms if you wanted to as well. So that means that come and talk to us and we can work with you to get Express embedded into the platforms that you're using every day. And apart from that, we also have a whole ton of extensibility. So for example, we have a whole load of plugins and add-ons that really extend the functionality of Adobe Express. And Andy will be talking through some of the new additions here today. We did talk briefly about this, but just always good to reiterate that we're not just talking about the creative teams, we are talking about on-brand content for everybody across your business, from marketing, creative and studio, sales, and people and operations. Presentations is actually a huge use case. So if you're interested in finding out more about presentations, please come and talk to me, pop it in the chat, what you're using Express for. We'd love to hear. In terms of sharing your on-brand content across the business, this is just a very quick kind of overview slide to show how it works. Your creative teams can actually create assets right within all of our other Pro tools, so Photoshop, InDesign, whatever it may be, using, of course, Adobe Firefly to generate content, which is safe and on brand. They can then bring that into Adobe Express and create a template. So templates can be created right within Adobe Express. Brand kits can be created as well. So the brand kits can actually be stored within Express, and then the templates stored in that brand kit can actually be shared out across the business to create multiple variations. The variations, of course, can be resized and localized into multiple different languages, multiple different sizes, multiple different formats. So you can really start to use Adobe Express to express content across all the different channels that you may be working with as a brand. So I'm going to hand over to talk about what we have released in 2024.
Right then, thanks, Celeste. So last year was very busy, so I won't go through everything, but there were some key things we shipped last year. So just in case you missed it, always good to remind you before we go into what's upcoming for 2025 and the core of today, which is all about what has landed most recently, as this product, as I'm sure you know, is growing at quite a pace. So it's easy to lose track of what's happening. So little recap on 2024. We're going to forecast a little bit around what's happening later in the year. Then we're going to go into what has just landed. Sorry, three parts of it. Firstly, resize with expand image. Often when you're resizing elements of a design or resizing from one format to another, sometimes you need to fill in the edges, and sometimes the image is not quite the right aspect ratio. So AI is here to adjust that, which I absolutely love. We can recolor graphics on brand as well. So if we've got a certain image or asset and we want to apply our brand, we can easily recolor those. A whole suite of really useful AI functionality, both from the recolor, resize, and rewrite text. So that's a lot of AI value we'll continue to deliver into next year. Integration with Lightroom, that was a very popular request, one of the most popular ones, because that existed in the previous version of Express and now we landed it again. So again, to Celeste's points about streamlining workflows end to end, if you're working with Lightroom, you can easily import Lightroom photos into Express now. Bit that's close to my heart because it's all the social media marketing functionality in Express that I work directly on. So shared calendars. So if you want to work on your content calendar with a broader team, you can now do that. Hugely important part of when we're building content plans, the ability to share that with others and allow other people to collaborate around your upcoming content and get visibility around your broader content strategy. Super important. Bulk creation, we've got a lot of plans around bulk creation actually, but we shipped the kind of MVP of that, if you will, allowing you to take a CSV upload, and let's say you wanted to create multiple different variations for like a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad where you wanted to swap out the header image or the product photo. You can easily do that with bulk creations now with CSV import, but we're going to be improving that, which I'll touch on in a second. Find and replace text, of course, when you're bulk creating content. Sometimes you just want to be able to not have to flick between the multiple different pages to say, I want to change this offer or whatever the copy is in each of those different pages. Find and replace, familiar user interface, Control F or Apple F, and you'll be able to just go ahead and quickly replace those core components, core bits of text rather, across multiple pages. Again, collapsing the workflow. Tables and charts and long form documents, there's a huge amount of value there, and we've improved it again, but tables in your design so we can start bringing our data to life as well. So that's just a very high level snapshot, but let's move on. Celeste, any questions, just ping them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. Cool. Right then, 2025? I mean, 2025 is going to be big. So 3 core themes that is going to dominate everything that we do. Easily create anything. I'll explain more about what that is in a second. Scale on brand creation, hugely important differentiating factor of Express. to Celeste's point about that kind of end-to-end workflow from, having brand safety at the, design level and how that scales in a self-service way. Scaling on-brand creation is going to govern a huge amount of what we do. We're going to deep dive into all of these in a second. And then, of course, save time with Gen AI. Of course, this is all a journey that we're going on. So first, text to image, text effects, that kind of thing. But really where the power of Gen AI sits is really as a creative assistant, and how can it collapse the time it takes to do those tasks that can be laborious, whether it's filling in edges, whether it's rewriting copy, or whether it's an assistant that helps you optimize your designs. There's a lot to come here. So let's give a bit of a sneak preview. So easily creating a thing, just simplifying the whole process. Spell check, it's coming. So exactly, and how that has been a big missing factor of it. So especially as we start to go deeper into longer form documents, presentations, we can't be having typos now, can we? So that is coming in the basically next few weeks. Improving typography support as well. You'll see some updates that we've just made that we'll share in a second, but we're going to continue improving typography in general across the whole product to make it easier to work with. PowerPoint export is going to be a really important one. I've put PPT and PowerPoint export. What I actually mean was PPT and Keynote export, actually. So, of course, still it's ubiquitous, PowerPoint, so we're not expecting everyone to suddenly present on Express decks, because we still need to present in PowerPoint. So we totally get it. So we're going to be doing that. And lots of people ask
quick question about that one, Andy. I was at a customer session last night. It was fantastic to network with all our business customers, but the PowerPoint export was actually a highly requested feature. So it's great to know it's coming up in Q1 because of as you say, some people in the business with Express and some people are still on PowerPoint. So fantastic.
Exactly that. So very, very soon. And yeah, webcam self-recording, because a lot of people have wanted to actually just film directly into Express. Of course, you can do that on a phone already today, but actually doing that on desktop too, especially can be really important if you're wanting to do like a walkthrough video or anything like that. Just being able to record directly into Express, that again collapses the time and increases the surface area of the opportunities that we can use Express to deliver on all manner of different use cases. So excited about that. So,
amazing. I'm excited about that one too, actually. I've had a lot of customers request that, so that's fantastic to see that coming up soon.
That's interesting. Have you got any kind of use cases?
I will talk to you definitely afterwards about use cases, Andy, for sure.
Yeah, I love it. Amazing, cool.
Workfront integration was a hot topic last night as well, so really, really happy to hear you talk about this one too.
Exactly. Well, we'll be nearly at the point where we can share some designs on this, so can't quite share them publicly yet, but that is a hugely important part of being able to say, like, hey, I've created a template. Let's say we created a save template, but being able to mark that as needing to be approved before it can be used. And that is where we're going to leverage some of Workfront's capabilities there. More to come on that as well, because this is the Q2 thing. So the shape of it might still and the user interface might still evolve, or definitely will still evolve. But just know that by the first half of this year, that core feature gap is going to be closed, because the approval and review workflows are such an important part of brand safety and how we can scale Express across an organization. Number 2, branded home experience to make the home of Express feel like home. So we're piloting this already with a handful of customers, but this means that you can start to make the home screen of Express, which looks different actually today depending on the type of user you are, but actually how much better would it feel if the home of Express was actually your company's logos, colors, was the core brand book you wanted the people to work in, already the saved templates, the kind of presentation master deck, and everything you need for self-serving on-brand creation across an organization. It's all there on a homepage that feels like your own home, tailored to your brand. How powerful is that going to be? So that is, again, in the first half of this year. Next one-click brand setup. Oh my word, am I excited about this one. So brand setup is a pain, right? I'll be honest. And we love brands, of course we do. But of course, setting up your color palettes, adding your logos and adding all of your assets, it takes time, and again adds a bit of friction to the flow. So what actually you want to do is just put in your company's website address, and automatically all your brand assets are going to be pulled into the brand library. Maybe you've got a brand book in PDF. upload it, and we'll extract all of the assets and present that back as your brand kit in Express, of which you can then use the logos, assets, whatever it is, your typography, your color palettes, all of that can be either extracted from a website or an upload. So we likely have our brand book somewhere already. So upload it into Express and it's going to feel like home in a snap, which we love.
Amazing, Andy. We've got a number of customers setting up tons of kind of brands and sub-brands at the moment. That is going to be a game changer when that drops.
That's going to be fun. Role-based locks, content brand checker. Basically, the TLDR under this is like, how can we compliance check a brand? So if one of your team members has created a template to promote a new product or whatever, or promote a webinar like this, you want to be able to, without having to rely on the brand team's manual oversight, automatically checking a design against brand guidelines, right colors, is the logo in the right placement, we use the right typography, is the font size correct, all of those elements validating against that automatically and providing guidance for a user to say, actually, you know what, adjust these things and then you're going to meet the our brand guidelines. So that is when we start to really unlock self-serve at scale. So lots more to come on that. I appreciate it's kind of high level, but hopefully it gives some excitement as to where we're headed with this. And let's go to the
just very briefly on that. The conversations I had last night was the kind of the real power and importance of having that brand checker to making sure everything's on brand, the nervousness of self-serving without having those kind of brand approvals, plus with the integrated review and approvals. I think this is going to be a game changer for so many organizations, Andy. It's amazing.
Yeah, I am with you. And Andrea, I will address your question as well. I'll address that in a moment, but it's a very, very pertinent question. So thank you for that. I'm going to touch on AI really quickly. Generate video, so the Firefly video model will come into Express very soon. Smart resizing as well. So basically, as the name suggests, being able to just, again, make that whole resize flow easier. And on-brand template generation. So when we need to create a template, maybe you want to scale, an employee advocacy program across an organization. You want to give people a template for that, but make them feel a bit unique for each individual's posts about the business, maybe. Basically, on-brand template generation, as the name suggests, allows people to kind of scale things in brand-safe ways. So again, brand at the forefront of what we do. Right, conscious of how long I've been waffling for, let's get the new features.
I love to hear about the roadmap, actually, because I think all of the conversations I'm having are just proving that we're really moving Express in the right way for our customers. And I'm really excited to see what 2025 is going to bring us all. So iPad support, this is actually a really big one. We've released the mobile version and the kind of really have sort of really good parity between mobile and desktop. But actually, and again, I was talking to somebody very recently, some of the team actually use iPad to create their mobile. They create content quickly and easily. They're kind of transportable and they can be used on the go. So actually having iPad support is actually a pretty big game changer as well. So the fact that, like you say, we've got interoperability between all of our applications, but now we have really kind of like interoperability between how people want to work and where they want to work as well. So if you're out at an event and you want to post something from social, or if you're working on your iPad and then maybe you want to jump to your desktop to do some kind of finessing as well. So anything to add, Andy? But I think iPad support is going to be a big one for a lot of people.
Agreed.
Yeah. Now I'm going to run through a lot of kind of what we call ease of use improvements. So they might not seem kind of groundbreaking, but actually put together as a whole, they're really going to make your kind of workflow much more easier and more streamlined. Obviously, we didn't have Justify before. We had left aligned, center aligned, and right aligned, but now we have Justify. So you can actually justify your text so it will fit neatly in that text box end to end if that's the kind of look and feel that you're looking for with your typography. Comment in right-click menu. Now, commenting is super powerful, and we know that a lot of people love the collaborative features. But before, it wasn't so quick and easy to bring up the comment menu. You had to sort of go and find it in the menu bar, and then you had to sort of bring up the comment menu. Now, with our kind of expanded right-click menu, if you're on your page, your document, you simply right-click, and you can see it's highlighted there right at the bottom, the comments menu as well. So if you want to work in that collaborative manner, bringing up your comments panel is now a lot more fast and easy than it was before. Preview animations is amazing, and we're going to have a lot of functionality and enhancements to the animation functionality within Adobe Express this year as well. Preview animations was before you had to actually play it in the timeline. Now all we have to do is actually simply hover over the animation that you want to check out, and then you can see the preview of the animation. So it's much more quick and easy to select the animation that you want to bring to jazz up your presentation or whatever it is you're working on. Just to highlight as well, the one-click animate all. This is great, and I love the popping in effect. So if you're interested in animating everything, so maybe for a very short post and you want to give one big pop of animation when you're working, don't forget to check out the animate all button at the top. It's very fun, isn't it, Andy? I love that one. Starting from your own content. Now, we know that a lot of people want to bring in their content and start from it as well. And what this improvement does is this actually means that it's much more easy to think about what you want to do from your particular piece of content. So let's imagine we have a photograph that we want to start from. We can bring in the photo, and immediately it will offer us to resize into all the different formats that we might be working with. So for example, we can immediately reformat it to landscape or square or portrait if we want to. We then can also immediately jump into the editing image space, so we can go ahead and add, for example, duotones, backgrounds, colors, shapes, and all of that good stuff as well. We can go ahead and edit the image. We can also start from our photograph, and if we wanted to use that photograph, for example, in a template, it will then suggest recommended templates and how our image could look in that recommended template. So it's much easier to bring in your content and have Adobe Express suggest how you can enhance that content and improve that content as well. Did you want to add anything on that one, Andy, before I move forwards?
No, you nailed it.
All good, great. In editor file management, now this might be the boring, what we call nuts and bolts, but actually you'd be surprised how important nuts and bolts are. And actually we have a lot of ways and spaces to store content within Adobe Express. We have your files, we also have brands, we also have libraries, and we also have projects. And you can also save your favorites now into your files as well. So you can do a lot of moving around between pieces of content, and it's we want to make it sort of as simple and streamlined as possible for people to sort of keep all of their content organized. You'll be seeing some changes drop into Adobe Express with the project setup later on this year. Now, if you haven't started working with projects, they're shared collaborative storage spaces that you can share with people in your teams, or perhaps even across the whole org if you want to, if you're storing your brand kit in a project, for example. But what this means is that you now have a little quick right click for all of your files and all of your brands and all of your libraries, and it will immediately ask, where do you want to put the file? Do you want to create a brand? Do you want to create a library? It's much, much easier to access and manage all of your files and all of your content. As you work with Adobe Express more and more, you will find that you will naturally have more projects, more brands, more files, and keeping on top of the file storage, the nuts and bolts, is going to be super, super important. So having improvements to the in-editor file management just makes your workflow that much easier. Copy and paste with formatting between documents. Again, it's literally as simple as, Apple C or Apple V, Control C, Control V, copy and pasting now. Now, I find this really easy if I have two documents open and for example, in two different tabs, and I can quickly and easily copy and paste between one and the other. So that's a really nice kind of quick and easy file improvement as well. Groups have been simplified to work with as well. So I can simply drag my mouse across the group, and then it will come up with a little sort of pop-up box asking me if I want to group the content. Likewise, if my content's grouped, simply one click again, and I bring up my control panel, and then I'm going to have my option to select the entire group, which means I can obviously move it around, and it will immediately surface the ungroup option as well. So if you are working with groups of content, you'll find it much easier to work with this simplified selection of groups. Just as we can copy and paste pieces of content that actually bring the formatting from one document to another, we can now copy and paste audio assets as well. So if you're working with two different video files, for example, and they've both got kind of some audio with them, we can now simply use copy and paste functionality to copy and paste between two documents as well. Did you want to add anything about the audio, Andy? Fade audio, I just wanted to actually just do a quick shout out to Fade audio as well. That was a really big requested feature that dropped last year, so it's fantastic if you're working with audio.
Yeah, it's a good call out as well. Yeah, and having fade under right click is actually really useful. I think one of the key things that this unlocks the speed of, especially now we've added sound effects to the audio library in Express. So if you want to have a sound effect appear multiple times throughout a video, copying and pasting that just makes the whole flow so much easier. And it will copy and paste wherever you've got the slider in the timeline. So just makes it, just again, as you see from everything we've been talking about, just getting rid of those tricky little things and streamlining that workflow a little bit. That's it. Back to you, Celeste.
I love the sound effects, by the way. I think they're fantastic. They're a lot of fun, aren't they? Now, if your teams are interested in learning, previously you did have to sort of, previously you had to kind of scroll down onto the menu and find all the learning content, which is embedded right within Adobe Express. Now we simply have, as soon as you bring up the learning panel, it's immediately surfaced on your right-hand side of the screen. So what you can do is simply scroll through and all of those sort of pieces of content that you may want to look at. And it will also kind of surface different kind of tutorials depending on what you've been doing. So I think actually it's a really, really nice way if you did want a quick and easy kind of tutorial, simply to find all of the content within the Learn panel and then keep going and keep improving your usage of Express. Anything to add on that one, Andy?
No, all good.
Yeah, perfect. Requesting access to a brand and auto following shared brands is actually really, really powerful for enterprises. So within an enterprise, we know that sometimes you may not want to share an individual link. We're working on being able to, some companies may actually be able to share their brand kit out with their entire organization through the back end, what we call the admin console, and do it that way. But if you're not working in that way at the moment and you did want to make your brand accessible more easily to people within your organization, within the brands now within Adobe Express, you can actually request access to a brand. So what that means is you'll see a little notification that your request is pending once you've requested access, and then it does mean that the person who owns the brand kit will be able to give you access, and then you'll have access to that brand. So sharing brands on a sort of individual usage basis is going to be much easier with this particular kind of way of following brands. You can also follow shared brands. So as you can do within Creative Cloud. So in Creative Cloud, I can look at my libraries and I can kind of auto follow and add to my libraries. We can now do this right within Adobe Express for shared brands as well. So if we have a brand that's automatically been shared with everyone in your organization, you can choose whether or not to auto follow it to add that to your sort of selection of brands as well. So just much easier, again, much quicker, and to ease your access into working with multiple different brand kits, as we know some of our organizations are.
Right then, let's
okay.
New creative tools. Just goes to show, I built this deck probably 3 weeks ago, and I wrote 182 Express add-ons. It's now 204. So
amazing.
Kind of losing count of how quickly we're growing them. So provided you have access to the add-ons, of which they'd have to be turned on. They're turned on by default in the admin panel, but if they're not, this is if you don't see them, that'll be why. But add-ons, again, like extend the utility of Express in a really substantial way. And there's some really notable ones that we've just landed. So do you want to go to the next slide, please, Celeste?
Sure.
So some of the most popular ones that we've just landed, we landed these in December actually, but so in case, spell check's going to happen natively, but in case you can't wait to the next couple of weeks for spell check to arrive, we've got spell checker add-ons if you want to use that. Because we spoke about audio and video, etc., we can fine tune the audio with like equalizer. So let's just say that we've got, a face to camera with a bit of background music as well. Of course, with the intonation of a voice goes up and down, equalizer levels that out to maximize audio quality. If anyone uses Stable Diffusion as well, of course, there are multiple different AI models as well. Of course, Firefly is the only commercially safe one, worthwhile saying. But if you already use Stable Diffusion and you're comfortable using it, you can turn images into video with the Stable Diffusion AI add-on here. So again, extending the utility and recognizing that Express is just part of a broader ecosystem. One of the most important ones is it relates to like social content and to be honest, any kind of content where you want to bring an element of humor and kind of connect at an emotional level. Everyone loves a GIF. Who doesn't? So now with Giffinity, you basically have the Giphy library in Express. So we've had that time and time again since we launched a new version of Express. People are like, where is Giphy? I want to have my Giphy stickers. Maybe I just want to add them in my social content or add them in a presentation, whatever. So now you can.
They have a really good selection of cats too, by the way, Andy. I checked it out.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't love a cat GIF?
He doesn't love a little cat.
And the other one, like transform raw data into charts with Gen Chart as well. So, we've all got data that we need to present in some ways. And of course, we're going to show some other ways that we've improved how we can manage tables and charts in Express. But actually, sometimes you just want to bring data and make data into a chart so you can bring it to life either in any type of content you create in Express. Maybe you're creating like an infographic, maybe you're creating a presentation, I don't know. But ultimately, again, this collapses the time it takes to create creative assets. And of course, when we generate a chart, we can apply our brand colors to it to make it feel like our own. So again, so much opportunity in there, and it's kind of easy to get lost. Hence the reason I wanted to highlight some of the most useful ones we've just shipped. Cool. Let's move on.
Don't forget to check out the native integrations for chart building as well, which I think is really fantastic. That dropped last year too.
Definitely. And if you want to maybe create some merch for an event, or you need to create some business cards, whatever it needs to be. So now we have print and deliver directly embedded into Express. I've already made a whole bunch of t-shirts and business cards, etc., and posters. A load of fun. Plus, again, just shows like the end-to-end utility of Express. And already, like I said, for using kind of merchandise for events or swag you want to give away, designing and building t-shirts on Express is pretty fun. So lots of opportunity in that. Next one.
You see your t-shirts, Andy.
Edit QR codes in editor. Again, once again, just removing those frictions. The way you can think about the evolution of Express is as follows. Like step 1, laying foundations, lots of features added. Step 2, where we're are right now, where we're taking all of the features and just kind of making the workflow so much more streamlined. So again, QR codes, everyone loves them, and obviously it's a quick action for them, but now when you've created them, you can then work on them in editor so we can make them feel like our brand, embed them into other assets that we're creating. Again, streamlines the experience as opposed to, hey, I've created a QR code, now I need to download it and re-upload it to Express, which makes no sense. So now we just have a nice end-to-end on that one.
Yay, no QR code.
Exactly. Cool. Back to you, Celeste.
Okay, so this is obviously really useful for anyone who does use presentation format. I use presentations all the time. I also use my mobile all the time. So for me, this is a perfect one. Landscape mode on mobile for presentations. Pretty obvious, actually, but obviously very useful. Content playback controls in presentations as well. Now, someone who gives presentations quite a bit within Adobe Express, it's really nice to have the content playback controls sort of surfaced as well. So this does mean that if you have sort of audio or animation or video embedded into your Express presentation, you can actually select if you want it to play the media automatically upon the page load, or you can select that if you have to you want to click to have the media play after one click as well. So again, just to have a little bit more selection. Do you think there's any more improvements on the horizon or anything coming within the space, Andy? Get a lot of questions around control and animation for presentations.
Yeah, a lot more, but I think this is a really important one. Like auto playing or clicking, but I think I don't know how much I can say at this point, but there's a lot more coming to presentation. If we're going to do this again next month, then there'll be
presentations will be one we'll focus on. Amazing. So do you want to talk about stylized PDF? I know that we did talk immediately about bringing in kind of your content, your PDF towards Adobe Express, but I think if there's a few more improvements on the way towards stylizing PDF, it's all about making that workflow a little bit more streamlined.
I think, yeah, that's it. I mean, we all know that we can upload PDFs and make them fully editable in Express, which we all love. But now, like the journey from when you're using Acrobat and you want to add elements to that, we're really streamlining that that process from Acrobat to Express. Basically, we call them round trip workflows where we just need to make a couple of edits and export them, etc. So again, just making that flow feel more natural rather than it feel like, oh, I'm going to have to upload it in Express and then take a next step. We can just start the journey in Acrobat.
And this is really, really nice if you have your brand kits with your icons or your assets set up for kind of non-creative people across the organization who really want to kind of use those brand kits, bring your PDF into Express, add all that really nice kind of content, icons, so forth from your Creative Cloud libraries. And there you go, stylized PDF. Paragraph spacing controls. Now, again, this is just really, really nice to know that we have a little bit more control. So if you're used to working in InDesign, I love a bit of InDesign workflow, but just to have that little bit more control over your line spacing and your paragraph spacing right within Adobe Express as well. Again, we don't call it leading and kerning, but we've now got letter spacing, line spacing. We now also do have paragraph spacing as well. So I think that's actually super important, particularly as we kind of build out what we call the long form documentation features of Adobe Express. We do have the ability now to kind of link text boxes and so forth. So if you're looking for that kind of high finessed kind of typography controls, you'll be glad to hear that we're introducing more and more of this into Adobe Express, and paragraph spacing is one of those items. Improvements to tables. Again, we are going to be making lots of improvements to tables. One of the biggest one that I've found is actually obviously having hyperlinks. So I put a whole ton of hyperlinks in my documents all the time. And it was previously quite frustrating that we couldn't have them in tables. So obviously now that we can, it means that we've just got that little bit more kind of capabilities of what we can do within our tables within Express as well. Did you want to talk more about the text editing and collaboration, Andy?
No, I think you nailed it.
Everything. Okay, there we go. But there are going to be more improvements to tables as well, so do watch that space. I'll hand to Andy to talk about the filtering content by use case.
Cool, yeah, definitely. So you'll find this in templates on home. You'll now see an output filter. So if you're looking to get inspired by some templates, depending on what your task is, you can now do that. So we can just get a little bit more better refined with getting inspired about the kind of things that we could create and give us a nice starting point for some content. Cool, I think that's it on that one. Let's move to the next one.
That's nice. This is actually quite a big one, actually, Andy. I mean, again, it came up in our discussion last night. One of the conversations that was asked of me was, can I share a design with a stakeholder and can we have them comment? But what if they're not logged in? You know, can they actually comment on the design? And the answer is actually yes, they can. So you don't have to be kind of logged in and sharing the design, as it were, to be able to comment on that particular design that you want to comment on and have collaboration on as well. So you can actually be logged out. Somebody can share a link and then you can jump in and add your collaboration piece as well. So anything else to add on that one? But I think that's really, really super useful, and really reduces the friction as well between, say, maybe the creative teams who might be setting up the design and stakeholders who might just be commenting on that design as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a good, perfect use case for that.
Yeah, perfect. Shared calendars are amazing. So again, if you're working with a team and you have a whole piece of content, a content plan that you want to share with that particular team, we can now easily launch them and have multiple different shared calendars, and they can be stored within projects as well. I'll hand to Andy, who's a content cal expert, who's going to be talking a little bit more about calendars.
Yeah, I'll touch on it, but you basically covered it here. But yeah, within your projects and Express, you can have shared calendars, and now we can make it much easier, or we have made it much easier for you to toggle between them. So if you see that kind of little bit up where it says shared calendars and you've got social selling team here, if you've got multiple different projects, so let's just say you've got several campaigns or different brands you might be looking after, maybe if there's sub brands or if you're an agency with multiple different clients, really important to be able to toggle through them, because that means you've got like content plans shared with specific subsets of people and can toggle through them. So yeah, really important. Again, usability improvement there.
And just one quick shout out about integration with other kind of publishing apps. If you are working with different publishing apps, we'd love to know about it as well. So do please come and let us know, or and then we can follow up with that one.
Yeah,
I'll hand to Andy to talk about web pages.
Yeah, thanks for that call out as well, actually, Celeste. So If there are any general questions about Express, or I wish Express could, of course, like the social media area of the product and marketing areas of the product, my specific areas of focus, I've dropped my email in the chat, so feel free to message me directly. But also, I'm happy to address other questions as well. So there's a question that I'll need more context on related to like asset metadata and AEM, etc. But any questions you really want to get some detail on, or you want some extra insight into, then just drop me an email and I'll figure out how to get the answer to you.
Yeah, cool. Likewise. I haven't got the chat open, but you can actually just get me at celeste@adobe.com. So that's an easy one to remember, celeste@adobe.com. And I'll take on any questions as well that I can support with. So did you want to talk about this one, Andy, uploading your own font? Because this is a game changer as well, because I love web pages.
Just dropping your email in chat. I didn't realise. That's a good email address.
Yeah, I have a great alias. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
So, fonts in web pages, for those that use web pages, we're continuing to improve it and bring the brand elements into web pages as well. I find them really useful for like internal comms things. Also, it's also quite a nice way that a few of our team members share updates around what's happening with Adobe Express with their clients as well. I was just going to say,
actually, Andy, we don't have the link to share, but we do have another updated what's new in Adobe Express webpage. So I will share that with this distribution list after this call today as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's quite a lot of power in that, in this feature actually. So now we can bring our fonts, bring our brands. We can start to make it feel much more like our own. Let's head to the next slide.
Which is great. So that's great to be able to do that.
Web page collaboration, we made it easier, basically following the same collaboration models as the rest of Express. So web pages has kind of lagged behind a little bit, the rest of the feature set, but now that kind of same like template creation, sharing workflows that you'll be familiar with in Express now in web pages if you want to collaborate on a web page with others.
And just to add to web pages as well, I believe we now have password protection. So this was something that came up when we were talking about kind of protecting. But yes, we can add a password protection if you wanted to share a link outside of your business, for example, or with a select group of people.
Good call, like that.
Wow, this brings us to Q&A. Andy, over to you.
Well, I have been addressing questions in the chat anyway as we've been going along. So we're all good on questions, to be honest. So I think we'll give it
2 minutes. I can put back in. Has anyone got any questions they want to ask us live? We're both here. You've got us for another couple of minutes. Or feel free to pop into the chat as well.
Cue awkward silence.
Very quiet bunch today. It's a Thursday morning. We all need a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, congratulations for making it through 43 minutes of us talking solidly about Express. But overall, I hope you found the session useful, so that we can, framing Express, talking about what's happened, what's upcoming, and then what has just landed. So hopefully you found this one useful. And yeah, if there's anything that Celeste and I can do to help further, whether it's feature requests or whether it's Celeste is obviously closer to like training and enablement, if there's any gaps that we can help close, either in terms of feature sets, like knowledge across your teams, whatever it is, we're happy to help. So
absolutely, we are very happy to help. Absolutely, very happy to help. And just to reiterate again, that if you did want some training for your teams or anything today has kind of sparked some questions and imagination, then do come and reach out to myself and Andy, and we'll be more than happy to sort of follow up as well. We'll take your questions that we haven't answered today offline. There's a couple of more questions coming in. So what we'll do is we'll follow up independently with all of the questions that have coming up as well. Andy will be posting the recording to this on his LinkedIn, so check out Andy on LinkedIn, and I'll signpost that on my LinkedIn as well. So if you are wanting to share or watch anything again, that's where the recording will be housed.
Nice, perfect.
Yeah.
I am just looking at those final two questions that have come in. One I had to translate from German, so apologies, Sarah. My German is very bad. So will it be possible to track the QR codes created? That's something we're evaluating.
Great question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. My general workaround is use like a site like Bitly to create your link and then put that in your QR code to actually track clicks on a link. We don't have any short-term plans of embedding like trackable links in QR codes right now and analytics in Express. It's something on the kind of broader horizon, but I wouldn't say it's a short term as far as I know. Sven, you've asked a question about like, is there a possibility to create export templates? I think I need a bit more context on that because yeah, you can create templates which others can export, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what you mean. So feel free, you should see my email address in the chat. So feel free to ping me an email directly to add a bit of context to that so I can actually answer your question more directly.
Oh, Andy, someone wants an Adobe branded cushion. Can we see your cushion?
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's always popular, this one.
I think we need to print some actually. Let's get some printed, Andy. We'll get some printed.
Yeah, I think so. Everyone likes a bit of merch.
Brilliant.
So unfortunately, you can't print them in Express yet, but you can make yourself an Express t-shirt. I was sad enough to do that. Anyway,
amazing.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate your time and attention, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks all. Bye.
Bye-bye.